Good morning, everyone. I wanted to do a morning on curiosity this week because it's very much at the heart of who we are at Q. And I want to make sure that we're still staying curious and that we keep asking good questions. And this morning, give us all an opportunity to be curious with each other a bit. So a few weeks back, Rob talked about the Genesis story of Adam and Eve, and he made the point that God perhaps didn't want them to eat from the tree of knowledge because he wants us to acquire knowledge through a quest and think for ourselves. And we've always said here that we're more interested in how to think and not what to think, which is a great statement, but in practice, do we really know how to think? I'm hoping this morning that we can discover a bit about how and why to be more curious, both as an individual and as a group. It's a bit experimental, so you're going to have to go with me. We're trying some stuff this morning that we maybe haven't done before, so we'll see how it goes. And just try and be playful and open to what comes up. Today is not about answers, just so you know that. Don't try and answer stuff. There's a great temptation to want to do that. So there's a video now. Let's just play that quickly.
Curiosity. From the moment we open our eyes, it fuels our existence. It's the delight in discovery, the wonder of, well, wondering. Someone great once said, "To learn is to live." Look up who, it'll do you good. You see, it all starts with a question. It doesn't matter what you ask, just that you ask. Because the questions you'll find are more important than the answers. Curiosity gives birth to boldness and dares us to try. It's how we got to where we are today, and how we'll get to wherever we'll be tomorrow. It's the spark behind the spark of every great idea. But no matter what we've done or what we've seen, we haven't done it all. And we certainly haven't seen it all. So keep listening for it and follow it. You won't be disappointed by where it takes you. Keep it running wild within you. Let it keep pushing you to discover your passions and make you crazy enough to chase them. We are all lifelong learners. From day 1 to 20,001. And that's why we keep exploring, wondering and discovering, yearning and learning, reaching with more than just our hands. The future belongs to the curious.
That was a very nice, positive video, wasn't it? In fact, we could all just go home now having watched that video, right? That's kind of done the job, hasn't it? But it glorifies curiosity, and it's got lots of great statements in there. You know, it fuels our existence. To learn is to live. It doesn't matter what you ask, just that you ask. And questions are more important than answers. I could just read out the whole video again. I'm not going to. So, first of all, let's get right into it, because I think there are probably some pros and cons about curiosity. We didn't see many cons in that. So now on your table, if you could talk about the pros and cons of being curious, and in a few minutes, we'll write them down together on the board so that we have something to refer to. Okay, so you've got about 7 minutes now. Just do the best you can, and I'll be back up in a moment. Meow. Hi, sorry, I just meowed at you then. Just to get your attention, we're back. Did you all get some good stuff in your pros and cons, do you think? Got some good stuff, right? I don't know how best to do this, so just go with me. We'll try and maybe shout some stuff out. Danny's got a mic, so we'll go around each table and we'll just get maybe one. Should we do pros first?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, let's do a pro. You choose the table, Danny.
Okay, we're going to go with our table here. Let's have one pro. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it? Okay. We said one pro would be, it can make you go further in any context or any interest or even relationships. It can help you kind of go to another level if you are curious.
Slow down.
Sorry. Go further.
Go further.
Just put that.
You're just choosing all the best topics, though.
Sorry.
That's good, right. Going further.
Nominate Jenny.
It's pro, isn't it?
You can give us a con if you want.
Now, I'm going to go with one that says something a little bit different. And you're less likely to believe something incorrectly because you're open and asking questions. So you're not going to just take everything at face value.
Less likely to believe face value. Let's say that.
Center table.
Very good.
It challenges our assumptions.
It
Challenges
our assumptions. I do apologise. My hearing is not great. Challenges.
Who's going?
Assumptions.
Well, it killed the cat to start with.
It killed the cat, Kev. That wasn't a pro. That's
It killed
a con.
the cat.
It's
We'll have
definitely
it,
a con.
We'll take it. It killed the cat.
Oh,
Sorry,
helps
cat
you,
fans.
It helps you try new things, like a menu. You know, it helps you try new foods, to experiment.
Nice.
Try new things.
New cheese. Front table. Who's going?
You learn stuff.
Learn stuff.
Like
Learn
it.
stuff. Strong.
What we got?
Well, you could find something out you really don't want to know.
Ooh.
Is that a pro or a con?
That's a con, I think.
Find out something you don't want to
We
know.
go to this table. Who's going? Ruth?
Adventure and growth.
Adventure and growth.
Yeah.
We're on a pro. Have we done every table? I believe we have. Should we go round one more with cons, Kev?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this table with a con. Oh, yeah, people might get offended. Some people might think, like, you're going past my boundaries here. Stop asking so many questions.
So Amelia said it also causes doubt, which can be a threat to certainty.
Yeah.
Center table.
It can put you at risk.
At risk.
Exhausting being curious.
It can be exhausting.
It can be
being
exhausting,
curious.
yeah. Exhausting.
I think we've done all of ours.
A con. Have they all been said?
Is that right? Are we just about exhausted?
Yeah, I got
that.
Any more cons?
Any more?
If you're not careful, you could end up a cul-de-sac.
If you're not curious, you end up in
If you're not careful, you could end up in a cul-de-sac.
a cul-de-sac.
Like a dead end.
Is that a pro or a con?
Is that with curiosity? A con is that you could
It's
end
a
up
con.
with...
End up in a cul-de-sac.
Oh.
Dead end.
Do you just want one?
I like cul-de-sac though.
Way up.
I never thought I would be writing cul-de-sac on the board, so that's
Okay,
good.
Ruth has a con.
Makes you vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah, vulnerable. Okay.
Is that every table done? I think that's us done, Kev.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for sharing those. I just want them to be there just so that we can kind of consider them as the morning goes on. I was just talking to Elle then, and she was like, are you just going to rub them out when we're done? Because I said, I'm probably not going to follow down this lead too much, but thanks for providing those, right? So one of the interesting things is that the phrase that comes to mind about curiosity is obviously the one, curiosity killed the cat. So, be careful where your curiosity takes you, because curiosity killed the cat. Keep your nose out. Don't ask questions. Remember what happened to that cat. Now, most people have heard this phrase, but did you know that this is not the whole phrase? Ooh. The whole phrase is this. Well, we spotted a comma. The grammar police will have spotted that there's a comma there, actually, when I put that up. The whole phrase is, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Who's heard that before? No one's heard that before. When I go online, everyone's like, oh yeah, I was taught that one in school, blah, 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 blah. I was not. Because I think that we probably live in a culture where curiosity is seen as more of a dangerous thing. So I discovered this in an article, actually, about a lot of popular phrases that many others have alternate endings as well, just like that. But my curiosity did take me to find out that this was actually a bit of clickbait, and it's not actually the original phrase, but it came about in around 1905, so it's been around for about 100 years. But nevertheless, I like this version because it takes into account the pros and cons of curiosity. And here at Q, we've been curious, we've asked questions, and it's taken us to what feels like the edge of oblivion. But we come back satisfied because we dared to ask the questions and learnt something. Yeah. Now, I've talked a lot about having a childlike wonder and curiosity when approaching the world. We start off very curious in life. As kids, we ask why. Why do kids ask why? Because they're curious. Why? 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 My 4-year-old at the moment has really jumped on the why train. He questions just about everything. Actually, the other night he fell asleep asking questions mid-question. And I can't remember what the question was, but it sort of petered out. Why did this? And at that point, I was able to leave the room with a lot of questions. Anyway. So how do we lose this sense of curiosity and wonder? I think one thing is that we enter education, and education is all about answers. We're trained to come up with the answer to get the grade that we want, and the question's set by someone else rather than from our own curiosity. Is this where we've ended up as adults? Do we carry the belief that there is a correct answer for every question, and does life really work that way? Is there a correct answer for every question? Is that a rhetorical question? I don't know. One way to come back to wonder is to learn how to ask more questions. And someone who asked a lot of questions was Jesus. We've got Jesus in. So just have a look at this video now, and we'll talk about it after.
And I was asking myself, why so many questions? And when you pay attention to the life of Jesus, there are two primary ways he communicates. The first is stories, and the second is questions. That's like communication 101 with Jesus, stories and questions. And I think it's so funny that the way that we've shaped our faith for the most part in our contemporary idea of Christendom is for everybody to have answers. When really Jesus shaped faith with everybody having questions and a dialogue together. So I was wondering, why did Jesus ask so many questions? And I think some of the top reasons are Jesus was after engagement, not just rhetoric. He didn't even just want you to understand or believe or inherit a set of doctrines or principles. He wanted a real conversation. And questions are one of the ways that we do that. I think Jesus was interested in relationship. He really wanted relationship. And if you ever have a relationship with someone, you know that questions, genuine interest in what's really happening, real discussion, getting deeper than just surface level conversations is a part of what real relationships look like. I think he was interested in the people that he was with really thinking things through. I think he really wanted to get them to use their minds and their hearts and their lives to engage and really have a think. I think he was interested in real conversations. I think he wanted people to come to their own conclusions rather than be told what to do, which is actually what religion will want people to behave properly because they were told what to do. Jesus wanted relationship where people were coming to their own conclusions and making their own decisions.
Okay, some really good points there, stuff that we've probably talked about for years. It's that kind of thing, but I thought it was just a nice, concise video that kind of got a lot of that stuff across. And I don't know who that is, by the way, but she's from a community called The Meeting House, if you wanted to look that up. I couldn't find a name anywhere. I'm sorry. So we've got an environment here where we can be curious about each other's views, beliefs, questions, and ideas. What we'll do now is an exercise. You should all have some A4 paper on your tables. This is the bit that's a bit experimental, right? So what I'm going to do is give you about 30 seconds to think of and write the first thing that comes into your head, right? And don't worry, it doesn't have to be serious. It could be a word, a picture, a song, an interest, or something that's been said this morning, something from that video, something on the board here. It doesn't really matter too much, anything. Just write it at the top of your page. And just do that now. I'll give you 30 seconds or so. So just just write the first thing that comes into your head. It can be anything. It could literally just be a word. It could be banana. I'm not trying to lead the witness here. Just it could be anything. Or if you're struggling to do that, there's a cup on your table that's got some topics in it. If you want to grab one of those and have a look. But don't worry if you can't do it. I appreciate that can be a big ask for some. Now, before we do the next bit of this activity, we're just going to watch this funny video.
Let's start with a game called Questions Only. It's for all 4 contestants, starting with Colin and Greg, though. They have to improvise a scene, only speaking in questions, and the other 2 are standing ready to come in if I buzz the other 2 out. And what's the scene?
The scene is you're going to the vet, which in England means a veterinary surgeon, rather somebody who's served in Vietnam. So, going to the vet, questions only, where you go.
Thank you, Mr. Pedantic.
That wasn't a question, you're out. Okay, so you go.
Now, what's wrong with your animal? Can you help me? What is it? Can't you tell? Aren't I the vet? Haven't you ever seen a Burmese cat before? Do I look as if I have? Why are you asking me? Aren't you the one with the problems? Doesn't the cat look sick? Is it dead? Do I know? Why ask me? Do I look like a doctor? What have you been feeding it? Today?
How long has he had this fever?
This cat?
Do you see any other cats?
Can't you tell I'm perturbed?
Is he Siamese?
Does he look Siamese?
Are you Siamese?
Are you trying to get my goat?
Don't we know each other?
Weren't we in class together?
Are you Phil Johnson?
Are you Bob Philly Foo?
How the hell are you doing?
Silly man. Do you think you can save him, Bob Billy Boo?
Do you think I have the talent?
Isn't that what you're here for?
Is 4 years medical school too little?
Is $5 billion enough to pay this fee?
Do you have the money?
Do you need it now?
American cash?
Will you take a bad check?
Is it your check?
Is that what you want?
Do you think I can help him?
Won't you help, Fifi?
Will you assist me?
Would you like me to?
Could I have the scalpel?
Is this the one you want?
Does blood steal you?
Is that his internal organs?
Do you see that?
Are you sure this isn't something else?
Would you like to keep it?
May I eat it?
Wouldn't it make a great necklace?
Do you have any fondue?
I think that's good.
It's a classic. It's one of my favourite shows. That very clever people. And don't worry, we're not going to try that now in your tables. It's just something that came to mind, and it was just an excuse to show that, really. But were they actually asking good questions there? When questions became part of the exercise, perhaps the questions they were asking were not that great. So, just a quick thing. When asked why he became a scientist, Nobel Prize winner Dr. Isidore Rabi said, "My mother made me a scientist without ever intending it." Every other mother would ask their child after school, "So, did you learn anything today?" But not my mother. She always asked me a different question. "Izzy," she would say, "did you ask a good question today?" Also, the French philosopher Voltaire said, "Judge a man by his questions, not by his answers." So in the spirit of that, what you'll do now with your piece of paper is pass it to the person on your left. They will then write a question about it underneath. It can be any question relating to the thing that you've written. Once you've done that, you'll pass the paper again to the next person. And the next person, and so on and so on. You'll just keep asking questions about the thing at the top of the page. Now, eventually you'll get a piece of paper back that's full of questions. You'll get your original sheet. So once you've got to that point, have a chat about the different kinds of questions on your page. And there's no need to answer them. Don't give in to the temptation to have to answer the questions. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Just look at the questions and look at which ones provoke a greater response. I'm going to do about 10 minutes. Is that clear for everyone? Do you need me to come and talk to you? Okay. Okay. Time's up. Was that a beneficial exercise, do you think? Did you get some good questions? At the very least, did you have some good discussions around your table about random things? Did you have some good questions coming up that provoked more of a response than others? So that was experimental. I don't know how that went or how that was going to go, so do let me know how it went. But walking around the tables, it looked like we were getting the gist of it, and you were having a good time at least. So there's that. So we talked about asking questions as a way to cultivate curiosity. And I encourage you also to ask questions in the way that you have this morning. You know, if you are thinking about something, just ask as many questions about that thing as you can, even if the questions sound dumb or silly. There's no such thing as a bad question in this when you're learning something. So another good way to cultivate curiosity is through mindfulness. Mindfulness. Now, I can feel people rolling eyes already in the room. It's just one of those words, isn't it? I know, I've been there. I was like, mindfulness, but I didn't really fully understand what it was. And I can assure you that you actually do know what mindfulness is if you think that you don't. Just watch this funny video.
So I see these teenagers and they're like, guys, we're really struggling and we need to practice mindfulness and meditation. And I think it's great that they are talking about mindfulness and meditation as teenagers. But it does entertain me because nobody, when I was a teenager, mentioned the word mindfulness. And do you know why that was? Because we were mindful half of every day because we didn't have a choice. We didn't have a cable service in our pocket. You waited for somebody, you waited. Mindfulness. You were on the bus, you're on the bus. Watching condensation drip. Mindfulness. I didn't realize I was like a guru before I got a cell phone. You want to return a VHS? You got to rewind that shit. Mindfulness. Have you ever rewound anything in your life? You are the post-rewind generation, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that there were times when we were forced to be with ourselves. You know? Now, sometimes I'll be running home. I'm so addicted to my phone. I'll get home. I'll make it to the bathroom. I'm like, wow, I just made it. And then I'll realize I left my phone in my jacket. I'll pick my pants back up. I'll go back outside. I'm like, oh my God. I was nearly with myself for 2 minutes. What would I have done with my thoughts had I not been able to swipe on my Instagram for 2 minutes while I'm in the bathroom? So it's no wonder there's a mental health crisis in young people because they've never actually had a second to be with their feelings. So every now and then when they get 10-second window into their soul, they feel something and they're like, what the is that?
It's a good clip, good clip. So, can we all relate a little more to mindfulness now? We've been there in our lives. It's hard to be mindful in this day and age. So, in a minute, I'm going to challenge you to be with yourself for a few minutes. Now, before we do that, I just want to read this quote about meditation, which, if someone had shown me a few years back, it would have really helped dispel some of my misconceptions about it. So, I think it can be on the screen as well, but I'll read it at the same time. In meditation, your only job is to be curious about what arises. Don't try to get rid of any aspect of your experience. Your crazy thoughts, just watch them. Uncomfortable feelings, just breathe with them. Cry with them, laugh with them. The part of you that hates meditation, be interested in it too. The child in you who can't sit still, who wants to be somewhere else, who feels ashamed or guilty for thinking unspiritual thoughts or feeling negative feelings and impulses, who feels the burning desire to run away and do something else. Welcome them with open arms. Breathe them into love and breathe love into them. In meditation, even the unwanted is wanted. Even your resistance is sacred. And that's by Jeff Foster. So, to help us to get into the right headspace for this, there's a technique that's come up recently when we've been trying to help our kids to calm down, which is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It actually works wonderfully on adults too. So, if you could just pop that up on the screen, what you do, once we start the time, just take the time to notice 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So let's try and do this now. And if you want to shut your eyes, if you're comfortable to do that, that's fine. Obviously, you can't do that for the first thing, looking for 5 things. But once you've done that, you should feel a bit more calm and present in the moment. And so I'd invite you to either close your eyes or avert your gaze down if you want to do that. Okay, so let's do that now, and then we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. I'm resisting the urge to apologize for the last 10 minutes. But I think that most of you probably, I'm hoping you got something out of it. So just to wrap up now, just some final thoughts. Q stands for quest, right? There's no quest without a question. A quest is what happens if you have a question. Through our curiosity, we've been led to new understandings of the divine, Jesus, the Bible, religion, but how often has that willingness to question extended beyond just our spiritual faith? Quote, "People tend to be curious about things that they're comfortable with. It's harder to be curious about things that are outside of what we agree with. It's hard to allow curiosity to step over to the other side. It's easy to be curious about an abstract period of time like the Renaissance or Bible times or some kind of future, but it's much less interesting to be curious about the present often. The power of curiosity is to make the present more interesting." And we did a technique there that helped us hopefully get more into the present by observing and listening and the rest of it. Each week, we're bringing ideas that we want to spark curiosity so that we can discover something new together. But if this idea is beyond our comfort zone, or what we believe to be true, it's harder to be curious about it. Is that because we're looking for answers? Or could we be looking for questions that will lead us to a better understanding and ignite the spark behind the spark? The whole root of our purpose here is that we're on a quest. You can't be on a quest without a question, and question is the action of the word quest. We want a culture here where people can question without embarrassment or shame. There are no stupid questions when you are learning something new, so please encourage each other in curiosity, and we can share our questions together so we can pursue truth and, as a result, wisdom. And we've got that quote that's printed on the wall in the other hall. Wisdom is like a baobab tree. No one individual can embrace it. I think there was a slide. Having a quest in life brings great wonder, joy, and purpose. I could have gone on about this for hours. Studies have shown, I'll link them in the blog, that people who are more curious live longer, they form stronger relationships, they're more happy, more empathetic. And we're more empathetic when we're curious and talk to those outside of our usual social circle, which is why this room and the people in it is perfect for that. So thank you for joining me and feeding my curiosity this morning. My intention wasn't to make you feel uncomfortable, but sometimes curiosity just does that. I wanted to make sure that this is the place for curiosity and questions. And we did try some new things, so I appreciate you indulging with me on my quest this morning. So let's get back to childlike curiosity, and as you go through life, ask lots of questions and never stop exploring. Thank you, everyone.